Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Simple Songwriting. Today we're doing Nails in the Coffin by Five Finger Death Punch. And we're doing a daytime stream today. I don't usually do those, but yeah, we're recording this on a Friday afternoon. I'm seeing Avenged Sevenfold live tonight. Anyway, doesn't matter. So a few weeks ago, I covered Eye of the Storm. And truthfully, I found it to be a little bit of a disappointment. You know, that was the lead single from this album, Legacy, which has been out now a few weeks. Let's see, when did it come out? Yeah, about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I was a little disappointed with Eye of the Storm. I thought it was just about as cliche as it comes from like a musical and standpoint. But the lyrics I thought were pretty weak. I will make no qualms about it. I think Ivan Moody is like a very poor lyricist. I mean, I actually would say he's like the worst lyricist in rock music. So that's just before we even get into it, that's my general perception of him. You know, I think he's a great singer and a pretty good frontman, but yeah, he just not a big fan of his lyrical style. It seems to rely a lot on like repetition, cliches, memes sometimes. I mean, it's just yeah. Anyway, so I almost covered the second single, which was De Appresso Liber. I don't know if I said that right, but I didn't think that it was super compelling. And honestly, I was covering the new Avenged Sevenfold the past few weeks because I actually did really like the new Avenged. Or at the very least, even if you don't like it, I think that it's fair to say that the new Avenged was very it was at least controversial. Like there were some interesting songs. I personally really liked them, but anyway. So coming out of the Avenged Sevenfold saga, the Statica saga, I was looking at, I got around to listening to this full album, and this was probably the most interesting track on it from like a musical standpoint. And I saw that it was like the new single, the latest single, and it was getting some traction. So I figured, okay, this might be a decent choice to break down. Going into it, we're going to do a full breakdown chronologically, but my initial impression was, it's pretty cool. It's got a little bit of a unique vibe compared to a lot of the other Five Finger Death Punch songs I've heard. I wasn't quite sure about the lyrics going in, and but my initial impression was I think I like this a little bit more than Eye of the Storm. Spoiler alert, don't think it really holds up after the full analysis after I did my notes, but we're going to get into that. But before we, in order to get started, we have to start at the start. So let's just, I won't get ahead of myself. Let's just start the song and then we'll dig in. So let's just stop there. So we start off with that big epic percussive drum, bong, right? It's to me that reminds me a lot of something out of like Lord of the Rings. So obviously like very cinematic, very huge, if like the Mines of Moria, if you've ever seen Fellowship of the Ring, like when the goblins are when the drums are echoing throughout the dwarven mines, not to get too dorky on y'all, but like it's a very cinematic sound what they've got going there, like straight out of a movie. Yeah, that huge reverb, and then we get the cymbal fade. Honestly, the cymbal fade almost sounded fake to me, like it wasn't a real cymbal. Maybe it is. It's hard to tell, but it probably is. But it's just edited and faded in a way that makes it sound a little like unnatural. Doesn't matter. Still, we've got a cool start. So let's play this first verse. I'm actually going to break this into a few different sections, this verse, but I'll just start by playing the whole thing, and that way we can get a comprehensive look at it.
There has to be a catastrophe in everything you say and do. It's like an urge you need to purge until it's bruised through and through. You turn the...
Actually, hold on. I'm going to pause it there. If my mouse would work. My mouse is just like freaking out right now. Let's pause it right there. And let's talk. So when the vocals come in at around the 10-second mark, we also get this slow string rhythmic section. Oh, hold on, sorry, messed my stream up. There we go.
There has to be
You hear those strings? Dun, 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 dun.
catastrophe in everything you
And those drums continue to play. So we're building tension. That's kind of the idea here. There's a lot of tension getting built. Ivan obviously is singing, and he's kind of doing this cool little 2-note motif thing. I've heard this on a few songs, but he sounds pretty cool doing it. You know, there has to be a catastrophe in everything. You know, dun dun, 1 2. So yeah, it's a cool melody, and it builds a lot of tension because it's sort of like offset rhythmically. You know, dun 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 dun. Yeah, and he continues that basically throughout the entirety of the verse. He does sound great. Like, Ivan is a fantastic singer. Say what you want about him. He really is a great singer. And so, yeah, he's singing in a way that's very personal, very calm, but also you can feel the tension kind of building, right? Yeah, let's just keep going, and I'm going to talk about all the different musical changes, and then we can discuss the lyrics holistically.
through and through, you turn the knife.
So what happens here is we get an additional string layer, you know, na, 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 but this time it's an octave up, and then we also get some tom hits. I'm gonna let this section play out.
You turn the knife to
Boom, boom.
make things right while slowly sealing up my tomb.
And then we get the guitar fading in, and then the guitar actually plays here. I'm gonna let this play through.
No hope for me, I've lost my way. If God,
Yeah, I think sorry, I paused it at the wrong time. Listen for this here.
my tomb, no hope for me, I've lost my way. If God forgives, why don't you?
Cool. So that third verse section is where he says, the third verse section, the main thing is that we get the rhythm guitars coming, and that's actually a pretty cool little rhythm. You know, dun dun diddle dun dun, dun dun diddle dun dun, something like that. Little triplet is in there. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet rhythm. I mean, five finger death punch is great when it comes to like their rhythmic sensibilities. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, it follows along with the kick drum, and then that snare hit at the end. It just sounds huge. So yeah, I mean, this whole section, we're sitting around like this verse technically ends at the 48-second mark. And so it's a pretty long buildup. I mean, a pretty big verse, pretty long buildup to, and you can even see it, you know, this is why I like my little song progress bar thing, where you can see how long the verse is compared to all of the other sections of the song. It's a fairly long verse, a fairly big buildup, and it's very cinematic. The big drums, the toms, the strings kind of dun 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 dun, and then you finally like that moment with the guitars coming in, you know, dun 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 dun. It's really cool. So yeah, and then to cap it all off, Ivan ends with this really heavy scream, you know, why can't you? Or why don't you? So we're not there yet, but I just wanted to go over like what this verse kind of is musically overall. It's just this huge buildup. But what is it building up to? And I think that that's going to be very important. You know, there's all this space, there's all this room, so we have to talk about the lyrics. So let's go through the lyrics line by line. So the first line is, there has to be a catastrophe. Pretty cool opening line. I mean, the idea of a catastrophe works really well with how huge this section feels, the cinematic nature of it. So yeah, I mean, I think that we're setting a large scope with this first line. I can dig it. He then says, in everything you say and do. And it's ruined. I'm joking a little bit, kind of, but not really. The thing is like, you mentioned a catastrophe, and it's like that comes with a lot of imagery, right? This imagery of world-shattering event. And then when he says there has to be a catastrophe in everything you say and do, it's almost as if we've immediately discarded the idea that this is about an actual world-ending catastrophe, and this is going to be about like at this point, based on just these two lines, he's just talking about a person who plays victim. That's essentially it. It's not necessarily bad, right? I mean, to me, it makes me think of like My Friend of Misery by Metallica. You know, you're going to write this song about a person who is constantly, what is the word? Hypochondriac. You know, everything is crazy and chaotic and it's all a catastrophe, right? This isn't bad on its face, but it severely lowers the stakes of the song. You know, we're not going to be getting an epic like Lord of the Rings, end of the world, nuclear holocaust, no large scale conflict. This is going to be kind of a generic, like, I don't like this person type of song. At the most, it's going to just be about an interpersonal conflict between him and someone else. That's what we established with these first two lines. Now, again, it could always go somewhere else, but I have severe doubts at this stage of the song. And this is also like, just so you understand my methodology, I like to go through songs in chronological order so that we can actually see and analyze what is being presented. Obviously, I've heard the song and analyzed all the lyrics. I know where it goes, but you can sort of infer based on where you're at. And this was also a perception that I had when I first listened to it. Like when I heard this, I was like, okay, this is what this song is most likely going to be about. I was right, but for the sake of the analysis we're doing, I'm just pretending like I don't know what happens later in the song, okay? Just so you understand how I'm going about this. So at this stage, when he just says there has to be a catastrophe in everything you say and do, to me, the stakes have been lowered. This is just going to be about an interpersonal conflict with someone that he doesn't like, which is very disappointing considering how huge and grand this verse is. So we're already like on the back foot here in terms of the lyrics, but let's see where he takes it. So he then says, it's like an urge you need to purge. So again, this is a person who makes everything a catastrophe. This is someone who must constantly vent out their victimhood. They have to purge it out of them. I'm going to just kind of say something here. To me, this comes off as a little ironic considering Ivan Moody's lyrical style. It seems like he says the same types of things constantly. It's very, I don't want to say mundane concepts, but just very kind of surface level concepts like people in power are bad. I'm the good guy and the bad guy. You know, I don't like the victims and wimpy victims, but also I'm really sad and misunderstood. It's like, that's all he ever writes about. And I think when I first started listening to this song, I was like, oh, like, are we getting something? Like, are we getting something epic? And the fact that it's just like, oh, he's just talking about someone playing victim. I'm like, oh, here we go, you know? So I just, very disappointing. But I don't want to just keep harping on that. Regardless, he's talking about this individual who feels a constant need to purge their victimhood out to the world. He then says, so it's like an urge you need to purge until it's bruised through and through. It's kind of redundant. We get it. Like, this person is a victim. So then he says, you turn the knife to make things right. So this is an interesting line. Because when you turn the knife, the idea of like stabbing someone and then twisting the knife means to intentionally make them suffer. It means that you're not like just doing justice, or it's not an impersonal murder or killing. It is very personal. Like if someone were to twist the knife in me, it means that they really don't like me and they want me to suffer and feel pain. They're not just trying to kill me. They actually want me to suffer. So then what's interesting about this line is that he says, you turn the knife to make things right. So how could someone be making it right by twisting the knife unless the person that they're stabbing and twisting the knife to did something wrong? So in this case, do you see what I'm saying now? Like, the implication here is that, I don't even know if Ivan realized he said this. This is kind of an issue on Eye of the Storm where he uses phrases without understanding what they mean. But in this case, he's saying, you're stabbing me and twisting the knife to make it right. He's implicating himself. He's actually admitting that he did something wrong, and this other person is now like making him suffer for it. But I don't think he's acknowledging what he did wrong. So let's keep going. But that's what that would mean. You wouldn't twist the knife to make something right unless you were somewhat justified in twisting the knife. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that it gives you the right to needlessly torture somebody and cause pain, but this conflict obviously is more than just, oh, this victim who has a catastrophe in their life is just needlessly twisting the knife. It's no, hold on. There's actually a reason they're twisting the knife. I want to see if we get to that reason. So he says, while slowly sealing up my tomb. I think the idea here is he's creating a metaphor of like him being closed in the tomb is like him being dead to the person, to this other individual who's stabbing him, metaphorically, twisting the knife. Yeah, I think that's what to take away from this. This person is closing the tomb on him, effectively like locking him away. We'll dive into that more, but that's the interpretation at this point. He then says, no hope for me, I've lost my way. So this is where I really started to have my problems with the song. And let's just do the next two lines too. If God forgives, why don't you? So no hope for me, I've lost my way. If God forgives, why don't you? So let's be clear here. He's saying like, he did something wrong. They've stabbed him and they're twisting the knife and shut him out. But now he's also portraying himself as the victim in this case. Like, there's no hope for me. I've lost my way. And then the last line, if God forgives, why don't you? So first off, this is an open admittance that he's at fault. He's the one who has done something wrong. And he's begging for forgiveness and questioning why they don't forgive him. And obviously he's going to evoke religion. This is like his lyrical style. Evoke religion to make a mundane, simple idea seem deeper than it actually is. It's like, if God forgives, why can't you? Yeah, so let's talk holistically about the verse now. Overall, honestly, this is a miserable start. I had such high hopes, but this is not good, and let me explain why. The idea being presented is that Ivan is clearly the problem. He has wronged somebody. He's begging for forgiveness, but in this case, the opposite person who, let's just be honest, this is like a breakup song. This feels like a breakup song, and it is a breakup song. The girl that he's breaking up with is not forgiving him and is in fact like apparently twisting the knife and like sealing his tomb, meaning like excommunicating him, locking him away. Yeah, they're not forgiving him and they're shutting him out. I don't necessarily blame them given what we've heard so far, because Ivan began this whole verse by saying that they're making a big deal out of nothing. Everything has to be a catastrophe to you. But he admits, so he admits he makes the mistake, but he doesn't really own up to it, right? He's not really like acknowledging that he did something wrong. He's actually just blaming the other person, saying that they are hyperbolizing and making a big deal out of nothing, and then saying it's unfair that they're twisting the knife and not forgiving him. Do you see where this is like really kind of getting off track from not even just like a lyrical standpoint, but like a moral standpoint? This is like a manipulation. He's basically assuming that he should just be forgiven and this other person should just get over it. But he hasn't given us the details on what it is. And he actually started with a manipulative premise by saying that, oh, this person, they make a catastrophe out of everything. Everything's a big deal to them. I don't understand why they have to be like this. What did he say specifically? Everything you say and do, it's an urge you need to purge, how everything's a catastrophe. But then it's like, well, but God forgives. Why can't you just forgive me? Just get over it. It's like, just to be very clear, this is how a manipulator behaves. This is how a bad person behaves. Like, what are we doing? So yeah, I mean, and at this stage, it's a breakup song. So we had all this cinematic, epic music, huge buildup, and it's for what? A fucking breakup song. So yeah, this is a terrible start. A terrible start to the lyrics. not only is the message like morally bad, but he just comes off as manipulative and dismissive. Like, again, he doesn't actually acknowledge that he did anything wrong. He's presenting himself as a victim because this person isn't forgiving him. But how can we even take a side if we don't know what he actually did to necessitate the forgiveness? That's what's called manipulation, ladies and gentlemen. That's what a manipulative person does. They obfuscate the truth and they make things more confusing and convoluted so that the people who do care about truth question themselves and make concessions because they're confused about what actually happened. Because this person who doesn't care about the truth, the manipulator, has basically thrown the shit back on them. That's what's happening so far. So yeah, these lyrics suck so far. The story is rancid. It's amazing. Like, it's amazing how quickly he can just butcher it. Oh, God. Anyway, so that brings us to the next section, which is the main riff. I'm going to let that play out.
I don't.
All right, so let's talk about this main riff real quick. So it takes that rhythmic motif that we established towards the end of the verse and develops it out into a full riff. The drums are pretty standard, but the kick drum does follow the rhythm guitar, which is playing a pretty complex rhythm. Like, if you specifically listen to the kick drum, it's very impressive what they're doing. Yeah, the kick drum is fantastic. The Five Finger Death Punch's drummer is probably the best part of their band. Genuinely, maybe what's his name, Zoltan Bathory. He's fantastic as a guitarist as well, but their drummer is unbelievable. This riff is actually really cool. This main riff. So we've got the rhythm guitar playing, obviously, but the rhythm guitar is playing all closed palm muted notes, like dun 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 dun. So it gives this main riff, even though it's kind of like we kind of bust into the main riff, right? It actually gives it a really cool dynamic. This like really, it's very tense and it feels kind of pent up. But then we have a lead guitar that plays over it that's sort of following along with the strings that gives us this very like. What I'm saying is dynamically, this is very cool. It's both a main riff that sounds really big and open, but then it has a lot of tension and tightness to it because of the palm muted guitars and the sort of kick drum following along. Listen here. And yeah, the lead guitar playing basically like I think it's like a double time version of what the strings were playing.
It's like an
Yeah. Very cool. So yeah, and then Ivan holds out that long note over it. And again, despite my issues with his lyrics, he sounds fantastic. I mean, especially at the age that he's at, I mean, it's really quite impressive how good he sounds. Like, that sounds killer. He's a killer singer. So, yeah. We end this section with a quick little drum fill, and then Ivan says, why can't you? And that brings us into the pre-chorus. So I'm just going to let that play out. All right, so let's stop right there. Before we talk about the lyrics, let's just discuss the music. So first off, the drums and rhythm guitars fully cut out, or they cut out generally speaking, but we get like filtered drums. So this whole section kind of comes down, but it's like building up. So we get filtered drums, and then we get this really cool build-up guitar. Play it. That's actually the guitar part that plays in the chorus as well. Here, listen to it in the chorus here. So yeah, it kind of a cool, subtle way to get us into the chorus and familiarize ourselves with like the general progression of the chorus, but not quite as overt as like, say, like what Linkin Park does, where they actually play the music of the chorus in the intro. So then when we come back to the chorus again, you actually already know what the music sounds like, and the only addition is the vocals. So yeah, and so that's pretty much all that's going on musically, though. You just have this general like filtered percussion with that lead guitar playing. The most prominent thing here, obviously, is the like pseudo rapping from Ivan. Truthfully, to me, it doesn't work at all. When you think about how huge and epic and cinematic those verses were, and how they really built up to a pretty cool, like I said, I was complimentary of the main riff. I thought it had a cool dynamic. It felt like this song was going for like huge, large scale, like we're talking about something epic. And then for Ivan to come in and do this like cringe filter rapping, you know, I'd never seen it coming, it just took me by surprise. It's like, it just feels out of place. And honestly, like it feels out of place at best. It just sounds super cringe and weird at worst. And yeah, the filter doesn't help either. Like this is the type of thing, again, I'm constantly stunned by Ivan and how it's like the style has not changed in 20 years. Because you can definitely hear how the band like musically has progressed. Not much, to be fair. They still play very similar stuff to what they've always played. But for Ivan specifically, it's like still rolling out these tricks that he's done. It feels weird to even call them tricks. I guess just these things that he's done for years and years and years. And it's like, dude, the filtered rap cringe thing, it's just not really that cool. Like this was like cool in 2004, you know? So, yeah. But with that said, now I'm sure this will make things better. Let's talk about the lyrics. So he says, I never seen it coming. It just took me by surprise. So again, we're getting this sort of weird message of like, did he do something wrong or not? Obviously, the implication is that he actually did do something wrong. In this case, how could he not see this person? It's as if, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this is like a level of delusion. It's like, well, yeah, I fucked up, but I didn't think she'd actually leave. That's a little, sure. Do you realize what you're saying when you say this? Like, what is this? He then says, a million things I could have said when I looked you in the eyes. So to me, this is him kind of saying that he had the opportunity to own up to it and like own up to his mistake, but he lied to her face. That's kind of one interpretation. I think maybe the other interpretation is that if he's actually saying this, it's like, what the hell's wrong with you? But he seems to almost be saying like, I could have been so much more brutal to you. I could have been worse, you know? It's like, what the fuck? Also, I just want to note on this line in particular, a million things I could have said when I looked you in the eyes. This is said very clunkily. Like this does not sound good at all. It's very clunky. Listen to the way he says it. A million things I could have said when I looked you in the eyes. And I think this next line is even worse. I'll have to be a catastrophe. I hope that you can take it. Like, yeah, that rhythmically just sounds super weird. That it's kind of an interesting thing. The only way I can really compare this is with someone like Eminem, who is really good about knowing where to throw little like quick notes into his verses in a way that's very rhythmically satisfying. This sounds awkward and out of place. You know, I'll have to be a catastrophe. I hope that you can take it. It's like, it just doesn't work. But lyrically, him saying I'll have to be a catastrophe, in this case, he's like openly admitting to being the catastrophe. But the thing is like in the first line, he was accusing the other person of making a big deal out of nothing. So he's basically saying like, yeah, I messed up. You won't forgive me, but fine. If you think it's a big deal, then I'm just going to be a catastrophe, you know? Like it skims dangerously close to being gaslighting, right? It's like, yeah, I didn't do anything wrong, but even if I did, then fine, I'm just gonna be even worse, and you should just I didn't do anything wrong, but you should still forgive me but also if you're not going to forgive me, then I'm just going to do worse. I'm just going to be even worse. I'm going to be the catastrophe. Like, what are we doing? Stupid lyrics. Anyway, he then says, and this is just like the cherry on top. The last line in this pre-chorus is, but a heart was made to give away right before you break it. What the fuck does this mean? What the fuck does this actually mean? Because the way I interpret this is he's saying he's going to give away his heart to someone else before this person that he's in the relationship breaks it. So is he saying that she's supposed to give him his heart back before she breaks it? Or is he saying that he's going to give it away to someone else, i.e. cheating? Like that seems to be my impression. It's like a heart was made to give away right before you break it. It's like, is he saying that he's going to give his heart to someone else before this girl breaks it? So like, before you break up with me, I'm going to go and cheat on you with someone else. I'm going to be the catastrophe and go and cheat. That seems to be the implication here. I don't know. Tell me if I'm interpreting that wrong, but that's the implication. Fine, you think I'm a catastrophe? I will be the catastrophe. I hope you can take it. I'm going to go and cheat on you before you break my heart. The fuck? So let's just talk about this. Honestly, I mean, these lyrics are so clunky. So let's just summarize what we've got. I've said this before and I'll say this again. Ivan is like the worst lyricist in hard rock and metal. Like, it's terrible. This story is contradictory at best and like morally wretched and manipulative at worst. And we're only like a minute in. It's really impressive. So assuming he's talking about a girl, he's basically gaslighting her about whether or not he's actually a catastrophe. Like, oh, you're making a big deal out of nothing, but if you're not going to forgive me for the nothing that I did, then I'm just going to be more of a catastrophe. He then is like, alongside that, he's claiming victimhood, saying like, I never seen it coming. It just took me by surprise. Like, there's no way she would have actually left me for the things that I did. I just didn't see it. And then at the same time, claiming victimhood, but still begging for forgiveness. And then like, openly admitting that like a million things I could have said when I looked you in the eyes. Like, he looked her in the eyes and presumably lied to her. Like, he could have admitted or apologized or owned up or something, but he didn't. So it's just like this contradictory fucking mess. And then to cap it all off, we get this kind of dumbass line at the end where he says that like, I'm gonna give my heart away before you break it, which implies cheating. That's what that means. What does it mean to give your heart away? It means to love somebody. Or to be in a relationship with somebody. So what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, it's stupid. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand how after 20 plus years of writing lyrics, you just don't understand simple plot and whatever. Anyway, so just to neatly tie this up, coming into the first chorus of this song, Nails in the Coffin, we can easily assume, based on the lyrics we're given, that he has done something wrong, lied to her face about it, looked her in the eyes and lied to her, manipulated her into thinking that she's making a big deal out of nothing, got mad at her for not just forgiving him for what he did, owns up to just, oh yeah, fine, I'm going to be a catastrophe, and implies that he's going to cheat on her by giving his heart away before she breaks his. Fucking unbelievable, bro. Terrible. Ivan Moody is the worst fucking lyricist in rock. What the hell is wrong with him? What is going on? What are we doing? It's such whiplash coming from like the new Avenged Sevenfold songs to this, because I thought the new Avenged Sevenfold songs had some of the best lyrics I've read in a long time. And coming to this, it's like, Jesus, this is awful, man. This is awful. Let's keep going. We have the chorus. What a clown. Literally, he dresses up like a clown. Here's the chorus.
I've come too far to turn back now. Nothing ever ends how we want it. I see too much to not look down. I'm putting nails in that coffin.
All right, so that same lead guitar part from the pre-chorus keeps playing, but this time the rhythm guitars and drums come in, and it's nothing particularly remarkable. It sounds good. I mean, it doesn't sound bad, but it's just nothing remarkable. Standard kind of 4-chord chorus type thing. I think it's a 4-chord chorus. Let me double check real quick. Maybe with some little rhythmic variations, but it again, nothing crazy. I will say Ivan's melody here is pretty catchy. He is a great singer, and his choruses are always very catchy and singable, but it's kind of meaningless if the lyrics themselves aren't so great. So let's come back to these lyrics and let's go through it again, because this is now the chorus. Like, I gave you all the lead up into the chorus, which is presumably what the song is about, like the crux of the song, so to speak. So let's see what he's got to say. So he says, "I've come too far to turn back now." So this is a cool line on its own, but in context, it's like, in context, it doesn't make sense. Like, oh, he's come so far. Like, what are you talking about? Your girlfriend's breaking up with you. What does this have anything to do with anything? He then says, "Nothing ever ends how we want it." So again, it's as if, you know, I'll talk holistically in a second, but this is obviously, they're breaking up. He didn't want to break up, and she's breaking up with him. He then says, "I've seen too much to not look down," implying that, like, you know, you don't look down. Like, you're supposed to just keep on your path and not look down at the dangers and the pitfalls below. Again, this comes off as a little bit disingenuous, considering he already admitted that he's the one who did something wrong. So what is he talking about here? Like, he's portraying himself as the victim who needs to be careful of falling, you know, and needs to be wary of his scenario, when he's the one that messed it up and needs forgiveness. And then finally he says, "I'm putting nails in that coffin," which, by the way, kind of just a cliche phrase at this point. There's tons of songs called that, but the fact that it's about a breakup, it just makes this seem a little melodramatic. So that's the lyrics in a nutshell. So here's the thing. This is what's going on with these lyrics. What he's doing is, well, first off, it's catchy. These are catchy lyrics, and it's a catchy melody. But these lyrics are ambiguous enough on their own that they actually seem to sound cool. Like, it almost comes off as like this inspiring message of like struggle and like what the turmoil that he's been through, and that's gotten him to where he's at now. And right, like he's struggling putting an end to something and like stepping into a new era of his life, essentially. And maybe it's come about in a way that he didn't like and that he didn't want, but at the end of the chorus, he ultimately decides, "I'm going to put nails in that coffin. I'm going to close that part of my life off forever." So he's done for good. On its own, this is a cool little chorus. It's an interesting, kind of specific, unique thing that he's identifying. However, this chorus does not exist in isolation. It exists within the context of this song. And unfortunately, the prior lyrics in the verse and pre-chorus completely undo any sympathy I have for him in this song, or for his character in this song. He's clearly the problem here. Clearly, he admits to it. He admits that he's the one that fucked up. So if the other person, but he doesn't specify what he did or why they need to forgive him, you know, that ambiguity, it'll get you. And so in this case, it's like, we don't know what happened, but assuming that he's the one who made the mistake and messed up, I think that the girl has every right to break up with him if that's what she decides is the right way to go. So this all comes off as a little bit, you know, disingenuous, because he's making himself the victim of being broken up with without actually acknowledging that he was the one that caused the breakup. And then to kind of cap it all off, he's like arbitrarily deciding, well, actually, no, I'm the one putting the nails in the coffin, you know? I'm not breaking up with you. You're not breaking up with me. I'm breaking up with you. You know, it's like very immature, super, super whack. So yeah, I mean, ultimately this chorus, while again, the chorus is cool in the sense that it describes a struggle and all of that. The problem is that within the context of the song, it actually comes off as super lame and immature. There's no accountability, no self-reflection, just a big immature tantrum where he disguises this ambiguous struggle as like this deep internal conflict he's going through, when in reality, it's just him dealing with the fallout of his own actions. He fucked up and his girlfriend broke up with him. That's what this song is about, ultimately. Very lame. Very, very, very lame. Super disappointing. So that gets us, so anyway, that's the chorus. It's gonna be a quick one, guys. I'm not gonna spend 2 hours talking about this song. There's not really too much to talk about, truthfully, but anyway, so we then get the main riff. Cool. So that's essentially, that main riff is essentially the same thing that we heard before, in between the verse and the pre-chorus, but the only difference is the cymbal is going twice as fast. So here, just so you guys can hear that. And compare that to this. So it's just a more upbeat, a little more upbeat sound from the drums, upbeat vibe. And that's because it's sort of carrying on the momentum from the end of the chorus, right? That brings us into the second verse. So I'm just going to let this, I'm going to let the first part of the second verse play.
You take my blood, turn it to mud. I hope it stains just like you do. You've cut so deep, it hurts to think you've left my heart this black and blue.
Cool. So that's the first half. The only difference here musically from the beginning of the first verse is that there's a consistent kick drum playing throughout. Just, you know, that That's fine. And that's like pretty cool. Cool little way to change it. And then we get the second half of the verse. I'm going to play this.
This black and blue, I tried to hide from my demise, but there's no way to bend the truth. So now I curse this lonely hearse and leave my worst here with never.
All right, so that's the second verse. That second half is about the same as the first verse as well, musically. The only difference in the second half is that we get a little more of that guitar sound coming in before the riff plays. So listen for that fade in from the guitars here.
I curse this lonely hearse and leave.
Dun, that dun, 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 dun. So yeah, cool little changes. Again, they're just layering on these things to increase the intensity, since it is the second verse now. Let's discuss the lyrics. The melody on the lyrics is the same, from the vocals is the same, so there's not too much to say about that, but the lyrics obviously are different, so let's discuss them. So he says, "You take my blood, turn it to mud." So this is a little bit of a weird line. Mud as a metaphor, I'm not quite sure I'm following what he's going for. Obviously, there's a few interpretations. You could say that she's like poisoning him, or that he's turning inhuman in some sense. Mud also has this element of like dragging you down, being weighed down, essentially. You could also say that she's putting him in a coffin and burying him, which means like you would eventually combine with the earth itself, right? So she's killing him essentially. So there's a few different ways you can interpret it, but it's fine. It's a fine line, but whatever. He then says, "I hope it stains just like you do." So again, he's already referenced that she's stabbing him. So I understand why he would want to, his idea is that she is unnecessarily punishing him, and so he now wants to get back at her, or in some sense, so he's hoping that his blood will leave a stain on her white robe or her white clothes or whatever. I don't know. He's just hoping that, like, this is what's so awkward about this, is that we don't even know who or what he actually did wrong. He actually hasn't even said that she did something wrong. So we don't even know, like, if this was a mutual thing, this sounds like he's the one who did something wrong, and then she's just breaking up with him. So this idea of like, I hope it stains just like you do, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, again, he's the victim of her responding to what he did. That's his view. Doesn't make sense. So then he says, you've cut so deep, it hurts to think. You've left my heart this black and blue. I just want to remind y'all, just another fucking reminder. He has already admitted to being the one at fault. So when he says these things, you've cut so deep, you've left my heart black and blue, he actually hasn't said, like, his problem with her, as stated in the first verse, let's go back to it, here it is that she is making a big deal out of something that he did, and she won't just forgive him. Do you understand? Are y'all getting what I'm saying here? Like, he is being such a little baby right now. Like, you've cut me so deep, you left this heart of mine black and blue because you won't forgive me for what I did to you. What is wrong with you? He then says, I've tried to hide from my demise. Again, he is the one at fault. He is saying, I've tried to avoid this. I've tried to hide what I've done to keep you from breaking up with me. But you won't, it's just stupid. There's no way to bend the truth. Here, hold on, let's pull it up. Here's the lyrics. A million things I could have said when I looked you in the eyes. What does that mean to y'all? If you hear the line, if someone says, I could have said so much to you when I looked you in the eyes, that typically means you lied. You lied. So when he says, I tried to hide from my demise, but there's no way to bend the truth, it's actually contradictory. He did try to bend the truth. He lied to her. But now he's saying, well, okay, I guess I can't bend the truth anymore now that you caught me and you won't forgive me. So now I curse this lonely hearse, which again, a hearse is the vehicle that a coffin is carried in. So he's cursing that he's alone and like left out. She's killed him by shutting him out. Like, the metaphorical death he's experienced is her shutting him out of her life and breaking up with him. And so he's now cursing this lonely state he's in, being single and broken up with. And then he says, and leave my worst here with you. So she breaks up with him and he's deciding arbitrarily now, well, I'm just gonna leave my, and here's the thing, this is what's funny. You could, if I was being super charitable, you could say that this is him making a decision to change for the better or something, like, yeah, I've been bad, but I'm going to leave my worst in the past in this relationship with you. But it doesn't come off like that. It doesn't seem like that at all. He makes it sound like she's the problem and he's had enough of her. Like, I'm leaving you're the worst thing that ever happened to me and I'm leaving it in the past. Even though I'm really mad that you broke up with me and you've left me lonely and left my heart black and blue. It's like, what are we doing? So again, so that's our second verse. Again, this is all super melodramatic. He did something wrong. She didn't forgive him. And now she's breaking up with him. That whole idea from the chorus, nothing ever ends how we want it. Like, let me know if I'm misinterpreting this, but this is literally him complaining that she won't forgive him. He hasn't stated that she's done anything wrong, and he's just making himself a big victim and throwing a temper tantrum about it. There's no self-reflection, no actual owning up to what he did or wrongdoing, or even an acknowledgement of what the other person went through or what their thoughts are on the breakup or why they're breaking up with him or their feelings or whatever. It's like just a big pity party for him. Stupid lyrics. Stupid. And to be very clear, this is all just such a shame because the music is really good. The music's objectively really cool, really good. I've liked all the music so far. Maybe the chorus, a little stock, but everything else, really awesome stuff. What a shame. Anyway, so that brings us to the second pre-chorus. I'm just gonna let this play.
My worst herewith. Never in a million years ever did you run away. But I guess there's something that you're doing, nothing looks the same. And even though we lost control and everything is on, I thank you for the ride. Ride before the fall.
All right, so the cool thing about this pre-chorus is that, you know, the first pre-chorus with the little pseudo rapping thing, he had the lead guitar from the chorus playing over top. But on this second pre-chorus, he actually plays the main riff, like that main thing here. I think it was like right here. That's what's playing over the second pre-chorus. At least from a guitar standpoint. And then but the drums are actually playing a really cool like tom beat over it. And then halfway through they switch to a little bit of a faster rhythm. It doesn't sound like it's quite blast beats, but regardless, the drums are really doing some cool stuff here. And listen to that fucking fill, dude. That is a killer fill. Listen to that fill. Super great. The drummer's killer. Great stuff. Unfortunately, he did more of that cringe rapping stuff, and we've got to talk about it. So, but these are the final new lyrics. These are the last of the unique lyrics in this song. So let's discuss them. So he says, "Never in a million years did I think you'd run away." So he never actually thought that she'd leave. He never thought that she'd actually leave. He messed up. But now he's just blown away that she's breaking up with him. Why are you breaking up with me? It doesn't make sense. Well, you messed up. So stop twisting the knife. He then says, "I guess it's something that you do and nothing looks the same." I feel like I'm just repeating. I'm repeating myself because he's just repeating himself. There is no acknowledgement of why she left or what she is going through. He's just the victim here. Nothing looks the same. You've totally messed up my life. Well, why? Why did she do this? What happened? He then says, and this is, I love it. "And even though we lost control and everything is gone," very important there, he hasn't said, the only thing that he has definitively said that she did wrong was the first few lines of the first verse where he said that she was making a catastrophe out of nothing, which he then admitted to being a catastrophe and admitted to, like, well, he said he blamed her for not forgiving him, which, like, by the, like, inference, you can assume that he is the one who messed up. So whether or not she forgives him is not up to him, and it doesn't change the fact that he's the one that needs the forgiveness and made the mistake. I don't even think he realizes that that's what he actually said and that he sort of condemned himself with that line. But the only thing she's done wrong here is make a big deal out of what he did and not forgive him, whatever it is he did. But now he's saying we lost control and everything is gone. See, this is what it actually is, guys. See, they actually both messed up. You know, he made a mistake for sure, but then she made the mistake by not just forgiving him. She should just forgive him and get over it. It's mute. They both messed up. That's how it works, right? They both mess up when one person messes up and the other person says, "Oh, I'm not cool with that. I'm breaking up with you now." Well, no, that's her messing up. So they both actually lost control. That's how it works, right? Ridiculous. And then we get the final line. "I thank you for the ride right before the fall." Stupid line. Not only is it like a cringe meme thing, but it's like, whose fall is he talking about? Is he talking about his fall? He's thanking her for the ride before the fall, as in did he fall? Or is he saying she fell? Like, thank you for giving me a ride before you fell. Okay. I don't know. But regardless, that's the end of the unique lyrics. What a stupid story this is. What a dumb story and what dumb lyrics these are. So aside from this just being a generic breakup song, with it being a generic breakup song, it's not even like a compelling one. He's basically saying that she's at fault for not forgiving him for what he did, which means he's at fault. He's needlessly ambiguous about the conflict in this song, doesn't say anything that he did, doesn't acknowledge that he really did anything wrong, simply blames her for ending the relationship. He puts all the blame on her for the end of the relationship, while sort of inadvertently acknowledging that she broke up with him because of something that he did. But he thinks it's not a big deal, so it's obviously not a big deal, right? Yeah, I'm just going to kind of say this. I'm going to say it out loud. This song is like an anthem for narcissism. He is apparently the victim here. How could she leave him? How could she twist the knife and be so cruel and leave him alone and you know, seal his tomb or whatever? If God forgives, why can't she? You know, when in reality, it's like he's openly admitted that he's the one that messed up. But he doesn't admit that he messed up. He is mad at her for not just forgiving him and getting over it. Like, it's stupid. And then on top of that, the chorus is him like to top all of this off, the chorus, which is like the crux of the song, is him like twisting the whole narrative, where he's like, he's the one going through the struggle. He's the one that struggled. And now he's actually the one breaking up with her, not the other way around. He's putting nails in the coffin. It's just absurd. And the message here is rancid. There's no reflection, no whatever. Anyway, I guess I did leave this note, and I want to say this. If I'm being extraordinarily charitable, I could say that based on the second verse, the end of the second verse, he's like deciding to close this chapter of his life and move on and be a better person when he says, like, I'll leave my worst here with you. But I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I don't believe that that's what this song is about, him admitting that he messed up and trying to be a better person. That's not what this is. The whole song is spent blaming the other person and him playing the victim, even though he even admits that he's the one that needs to be forgiven. He's blaming her for not forgiving him. So it's stupid. Anyway, that's it. It's a dumb song. It's like fucking borderline narcissistic gaslighting. And worst of all, genuinely, it's a wasted opportunity. The music in this song is really good, really cool. But this guy just cannot help himself. He once again shows why he is just one of the worst lyricists, if not the worst lyricist in hard rock and metal. He is terrible. So yeah, it's just a shame. It's just a shame. Yeah, so we get another chorus. Yeah, the chorus is the same as before, but it ends with this long note going into the guitar solo. So I'm just going to play that. And I'm going to let the guitar solo play. Yeah, so Zoltan Bathory is a really good guitarist. I do have his name right, don't I? I hope I do. It's a strange name, to be fair. Yeah, Zoltan Bathory. He's a very, very good guitarist, but I will be honest, even from Five Finger Death Punch, like, this felt a little generic. I had a note here. I thought it was funny. Like, this guitar solo feels as AI generated as their album art. Which that is pretty embarrassing that the album art is clearly AI, but whatever, that's a whole separate thing. Anyway, this guitar solo, it's just like a perfectly normal, fine guitar solo. Like it just feels very stock. We get some like kind of generic melodic, phrasing, and then he goes into some palm muted, and then we end with like that sextuplet shredding, which pretty standard, that like 3 notes per string type thing. Here, hold on. Triplet. And then, it's just kind of cliche from a guitar standpoint, if I'm just being honest. The highlight here, actually, to me, surprise, surprise, are the drums. I think that the drums here at the end of the guitar solo are really, really good. Listen to the drums specifically. Yeah, listen to those toms and everything. The drummer just goes nuts. It's awesome. So yeah, and I think that drum fill actually gives us a whole lot of momentum going into the third chorus, which the drums actually do change on this third chorus. They switch to a driving blast beat with consistent 16th note kicks. So listen to that. Again, really epic, really huge. Like, it felt like the whole song was building up to this moment and to this really big epic thing. And so then they repeat the third chorus. Unfortunately, the only changes are he changes the melody up slightly at the end. Right here. To not look down. So he kind of goes up a little bit there, and then he says, I'm putting nails in that coffin instead of this coffin. I swear to God, it sounds like he's saying, I'm putting nails in our coffin, but all the official lyrics on Spotify and everything say that he's saying that coffin, but I don't know. Y'all tell me, does it sound like he's saying that coffin or our coffin? So I don't know. Maybe they just didn't have the right lyrics uploaded to Spotify. Super lazy. But hey, I mean, again, they have an AI album AI album cover. Like, it's just lazy. It's just lazy if it's the wrong lyrics. And it does sound like he's saying our coffin, but whatever. If he is saying that coffin and it's just mixed weird or sounds weird, then, you know, the implication is that he's left it in the past. It's in the past now, guys. Like, I'm putting that behind me. Yeah, regardless, I do think that even this third chorus is a missed opportunity as well. There's no bridge to this song. So the fact that there's no new lyrics in the third chorus aside from that coffin is kind of a bit of a letdown. I think a breakup song in particular is a very good story to have bridge lyrics for, because the bridge lyrics can typically recontextualize things. So for example, let's just say that in the bridge, like in a hypothetical bridge of this song that doesn't exist, let's say they had it and he actually did own up and admit to some of the things that he did and say, like I know that it's my fault, but it hurts all the same, and I've now got to find a way to move on or live with my mistakes, or I've got to find a way to move past this and move forward as well. Something like that, right? I think I would have been way more charitable to this song in terms of like the themes and ideas, because it's almost like maybe you could say that the whole first, verse and second verse and the whole first half of the song was about like him maybe in denial about the relationship, but then the bridge can recontextualize a lot of that, but that didn't happen. So womp womp. We then get something very interesting, which I kind of wasn't expecting or was a little intrigued by. We get an outro riff here, which I think is actually a completely unique riff to this outro. It's a riff specifically written just for here. It's the only time that it plays in the song. So listen to it. Really cool riff too. And it's got it's hard to hear, but they've actually got like a little Gregorian chant, really low thing going on underneath it. Listen for that chant. Hear that? So again, like really cool, really epic, like a very powerful musical section, and that rhythm is very cool too. So cool little outro riff, and then it switches over to the main riff again, but with the first pre-chorus. And it fades out. Yeah, I think it's worth noting that they just copied and pasted the first pre-chorus here instead of having like any, it would be a lot of work to write more lyrics. So let's just copy and paste this here, even though it doesn't make any sense thematically, storytelling wise. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's just too much work, guys. So we'll just copy and paste it and whatever. So yeah, there you go. That's the end of the song. Yeah, overall, I mean, if you couldn't tell, this is a very disappointing song. It's disappointing not because the song is just terrible and everything is bad. It's because the music is actually trying as hard as it can to achieve something huge and epic and grand and like really do something awesome. And Ivan Moody is like taking his feces and just smearing it all on the fucking walls and just like scribbling all over everything that they do. It's really unbelievable. How tonally disconnected he is from the music of this song, and then how like I don't even know what that is, the delusional, narcissistic fucking something he would have to be to think that these are like interesting. Like this is like a commendable story to tell, his really difficult struggle of when he messed up and his girlfriend broke up with him. And he's the victim in this scenario. It's ridiculous, man. Here's what I think. It's got to be so wild having a singer with as much charisma and notoriety as Ivan. He is like the face of the band and who everyone associates with it. But then on the other end, like he has that charisma, right? But on the other end, his lyrics are just abysmal. Like not even just bad or mid, like just having these just horrible lyrics, can't tell a story to save his life. And not even just on this one song, the whole album is like this. It felt like the band was trying to write higher tier songs, and then just every step of the way, Ivan is dragging them down with his lyrics and the lyrical content. It's just the same shit over and over again. The same ideas are, everyone's a liar. I think that he literally has a song called Everybody Lies, and it's just, he just says it over and over again. And then like there's memes. Some of the songs even have like memes in them, like the lion doesn't concern itself with the opinions of sheep. Like that is so fucking cringe, dude. And speaking of cringe, the spoken word, there's like one song where the whole song is like spoken word cringe. Like, hold on, let's see. Which one is it?
You're taking the light from twist you.
This one.
Tis a push. I look around and all I see are robots, goblins, and creeps.
He's the worst, man. He's actually the worst, bro. He fucking sucks so bad. What a conundrum to be in as a band. To be so talented and try so hard to make cool, epic music, and then to just have the worst lyricist of all time. And unfortunately, he is a charismatic guy. He is a very like, he made me laugh just now, fair enough, but God, he sucks. All right, let's close this episode out. So, just getting some stuff ready. Hold on one second. Okay, so let's start with the Telos, the purpose. What are they going for here? So this song to me feels like there were two conflicting visions. The band, like the musicians, wanted to write something huge and epic and cinematic, right? Like really something that was like higher tier than some of the more normal hard rock metal songs that they write. And I think they delivered. I think this song from a musical standpoint is really cool. But then Ivan, on the other hand, also wanted to do something. He wanted to just complain about how his girlfriend broke up with him. Very insightful, very cool. Even though he is the one who messed up and she broke up with him because of what he did, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Disregard that. He's the victim. So that seems to be the purpose here. The band wants to write something really awesome and epic and huge, and he wants to complain about his girlfriend. This genre-wise, this is just a hard rock, heavy metal song, pretty generic, but with like some cinematic moments, little strings and the percussion and all of that. I'll talk about that in a second though. But yeah, in general, just a hard rock, heavy metal song. Structurally, it's a pretty normal song. I put normal-ish. The verses in particular are very long, and there is kind of like this interesting thing where they have this really long verse and then they play the main riff and then a pre-chorus and then the chorus. It flows really, really well. Like the pacing for this song is really good, but that is kind of an interesting structure to have, you know, verse, main riff, pre-chorus, chorus, and then the main riff, and then the second verse, and then the main riff a third time, but then they utilize the main riff there as a pre-chorus for the second pre-chorus. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, it's pretty cool. And then having a unique outro section was cool too. I really liked that. So yeah, I mean, overall the structure was pretty good. Compositionally, I think that this song is really great. Like musically, melodically, like all of Ivan's melodies, aside from those super cringe pre-choruses where, you know, I couldn't see it coming and it just took me by surprise. Like that's just cringe, bro. You gotta stop that. But his actual singing throughout the song in the verses and the choruses, really, really good. Ivan sounds really good. His melodies are always super catchy and singable. That's probably why he gets away with so much dog shit lyricism, but because his stuff is so appealing from like an overall musical standpoint and like a melodic standpoint. The lead guitar and rhythm guitars in that main riff, I think, have a really cool dynamic. Here, let me just play that for y'all again. It is really cool. It's hard to talk about. Shit, I'm on the wrong song. Here. Yeah, that dynamic there with the rhythm guitars and the lead guitar being both palm muted and the main riff, that's really cool. Really, really interesting. And yeah, I thought the outro riff was surprisingly like a really solid little riff that they have at the outro. The solo, strangely enough to me, I think the solo is one of the weaker musical sections. It just felt really stock, really bland. Didn't really blow me away. I'm a guitarist myself, so I'm like, it's hard to identify like guitar cliches specifically with words. I don't have I'm not gonna get my guitar out for this, but like, as a guitarist with some degree of skill, I can kind of recognize yeah, okay, you just kind of you just phoned that in, little moments of that. But anyway, I mean, it's a fine solo, but it just was a little weaker than the rest of the song musically. So yeah, overall though, compositionally, this was a pretty solid song. I definitely enjoyed this I definitely musically enjoyed this more than Eye of the Storm. And then the mix as well. This kind of goes hand in hand with the genre, whereas like it's a pretty standard hard rock metal mix, but they did leave a lot of room. Like they were able to find a nice balance of having the mix still hit hard and heavy, but also having like those more cinematic elements, the strings and the percussion and all of that. So, and the choir at the end too, though I do think the choir was a little quiet. But yeah, the mix was good. So then that gets us to the lyrics, and the lyrics are where this song falls apart ultimately. Ivan is ambiguous on any details in these lyrics, but the story appears to be that he made a mistake. His girlfriend decides to not forgive him and in fact break up with him. And then Ivan wrote this song as a response where he is basically just complaining about it. He is complaining that she is being unnecessarily cruel. She is twisting the knife. She's making a big deal out of nothing. You know, she's just she's being ridiculous. But then he also, while complaining about being broken up with, simultaneously asserts that he's now going to make the decision to close the chapter and move on. He's actually done with her. He's putting nails in the coffin. So yeah, from a thematic standpoint, I mentioned this earlier and I've got it officially written here. To me, this song is like an anthem for narcissists. He messed up, begged for forgiveness, and then when he didn't get it, He throws everything back on the other person, makes no attempt at accountability, self-reflection, apologizing, or even acknowledging this other individual and what their thoughts or feelings are on the situation whatsoever. He doesn't even tell us what he did, which is a sign of a manipulative person, by the way, someone who is very ambiguous and obfuscates truth and reality in order to continue to frame themselves as the victim. And and then ultimately claims finally that, oh, well, us breaking up actually wasn't her, it's me, I'm putting the nails in the coffin. The whole song title itself is actually somewhat contradictory to what the song is about. So yeah, honestly, from my perspective, there's nothing of real like thematic value here. The message of this song is rancid. It is a stupid song that is only appealing to anyone who, because I think a lot of people will like this song based on the melodic quality of it and the musical quality of it. But if you actually read the lyrics and see what he's saying and interpret it, I just don't think anyone could walk away from this being like, oh yeah, these are great lyrics, unless you yourself are like a manipulator like Ivan in this song. So all that said, final verdict. Yeah, this song is super disappointing. And not because it's all bad, but because it's got a ton of wasted potential. The epic verses, the interesting musical choices, the main riff, the cinematic style. There was really something unique here for Five Finger Death Punch, which is kind of a band that's, from my view, has been notoriously narrow in their scope. I mean, I know they've made a lot of albums and they've gone a few different places, but they're very talented. And I've always felt like, you know, how good they are, they never seem to quite reach like a certain level. I think it's songs like this that are sort of examples of why, because the band wants to do stuff that's more high tier, higher level musicianship. And then Ivan comes in and just spews bullshit everywhere, all over it. Yeah, to me, this is why he is the worst lyricist in rock music. And he kind of ruined this song with his narcissistic nonsense. Womp womp. 'Tis what it is, y'all. But there you go. I mean, that's the episode. We did it. Hope you enjoyed. You know, I after 3 weeks of covering the new Avenged Sevenfold, which I know Statica has been super controversial, but I actually found those songs to be fantastic. If you disagree, go watch some of those breakdowns that I did. Maybe I can change your mind. Maybe not. If you're a Five Finger Death Punch fan, you probably hate me by now. But look, y'all, I didn't say it. He did. I didn't write these lyrics. He wrote them. It wasn't me. It was him. So you tell me. And if you think that I misinterpreted them, let me know. I'm always open. I love discussing things in the comments. I do my best to be respectful and just hear out what people have to say. So if you think that I was very disingenuous and didn't interpret these lyrics correctly, let me know. I would love to hear what y'all have to think, but I obviously don't think that I did. I think I interpreted them correctly, just maybe not. I think Ivan said a lot, but maybe not what he meant to. And the message is not really what he thought he was giving off. I don't have any empathy for him in this song. I don't think that it's like this anthem for people who are going through a struggle and a crisis or whatever. That's not what this song is. This song is a victim whiny pity party about his girlfriend breaking up with him. Womp womp. Happens to us all. So there you go. Again, hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Y'all know the deal. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.